All right, let's watch the movie.
I remember asking him whether he had any family, whether he had children.
That was the only thing I asked about my personality at the time. But Richard has his ability to instantly take a liking or disliking to something. Within 45 minutes, he said, yes, let's go.
Do you remember that, being on your boat,
Yeah,
having
I
that
do.
conversation?
Yeah, I think sum up people pretty quickly. I mean, because I have a lot going on in my life and you have to make decisions about people very quickly. And I also, I suppose, if somebody's pitching me an idea, I like it simple. I think the elevator pitch is a good way of judging things. If somebody hasn't been able to get an idea across to you by the end of an elevator journey, then most likely it's not a good idea.
I assume you go into meetings like this thinking that you want to say yes. Are you trying to get someone to help take you across the line, or do you come in pessimistic about it?
I'm a born optimist, so yeah, I generally go into meetings with an optimistic approach. Obviously, I do say no to quite a few things, especially new business ideas or ideas that maybe are going to put my life on the line. And I do ask quite a lot of hopefully pertinent questions to try to decide whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. Is it worth the risk? Is it worth the risk of one's children losing a father? Is it worth the risk of one's wife losing a husband? Is it worth the risk of my parents losing a son? All these kinds of questions were racing through my head. It would be my dad that I would find an excuse to ring up.
So this is a theme that runs through the entire film and obviously through your life. How do you balance your high tolerance for risk with knowing that you have the support system around you, that you have people that are counting on you? You've got children, a wife, at that point it was a girlfriend. How much are you factoring that in when you make these decisions?
Well, it's a very good question, and it's very much what the film's about. Is it worth the risk? Is it is it worth the possibility of not coming home? And in the end, I've decided, and I'm not sure whether I'm right or wrong, that you do only live once, and you should throw yourself wholeheartedly into life, and do everything you can to survive, but be willing to take bold steps in life. And fortunately, I just pulled it off, and I did come home. Interestingly, now my children are getting their own back. My son, climbed the Matterhorn last year. He's kite surfed the English Channel. We've gone on. We've tried to break the transatlantic sailing record together with my son and my daughter. We've just done a 2,500-mile trip on hiking and biking and swimming from Switzerland to Sicily. The adventure continues in the family, but is now, we now do it as a group, as a family, rather than them having to watch me doing it.
Have your kids brought you something where you have said, this is a bad idea, please don't do this?
Well, I mean, climbing the Matterhorn is very dangerous, and obviously as a father, a lot of me would not want my son to take that risk, but equally as a father, I know that he's got to do these kinds of things, and he's more of a man as a result, and more a really special man, I think, as a result of the way he's pushed himself.
Do you empathize in a different way with your father or your mother, what they were going through? I mean, there was one point where when you're about to cross the Pacific, your father, in it seems like a very British way, is almost begging you not to do this. Do you look back now and have a different perspective on how they saw what you were doing because of where you are today? As
you get older, strangely, you get slightly more conservative, I think. In the sense that the time to be conservative is when you're younger and you've got your whole life ahead to lead. Yes, I definitely question more about whether I was wise to have done what I did. And I was extremely, extremely fortunate to have survived. I mean, when people watch the film, especially kids, and in fact, I was watching the film with Kate Winslet's kids the other day. They kept on looking over me to see if I was alive. It was quite a sort of strange thing, and they, come over and sort of prod me occasionally. but it was, I was fortunate.